My name is Cindy Boer, and we moved into the ward the last week in December. I've always liked Utah, but I was born and raised in California, born in San Jose, and I love California. I really do. It has beautiful weather, the seasons, it's a beautiful state. I realize now, it's changing a lot, but I like it. I don't know that we'll ever go back to it. So one day we're sitting in our yard, my husband and I, Citrus Heights, do you know where that is? Sacramento, and we looked at the yard, which was huge and real beautiful, and he goes, "Do you want to move? I'm kind of getting tired of doing the yard." And I said, "Yeah." So that's why we moved up closer to Utah. Do you know where Lincoln is? You do? Lincoln. Okay. So we moved there. I think we moved a total of 8 times because we just kept finding houses we liked better than the last one, and had 5 children and wanted a lot of room for them, but it was nice. It really was. What else? My husband started out as a meat cutter, and then he was put over 3 stores, so that was kind of busy. But he loved it, loved being a meat cutter, and so did our boys, because they'd come home from school and they'd get in the freezer and say, "What meat did Dad bring home that they have too much of?" And so Brian would barbecue a steak for lunch. Anyway, I've always been a member of the church all my life. I was baptized at 8, and our children are all members. They aren't all active. There's 5 of them and 2 are not. And that's hard, but you just do the best you can. And we love it here in Coventry. It's a wonderful place to be. Made a lot of friends, really enjoyed, except for the one back there. Who am I speaking of? Yeah, he can be.
Here and there.
What else do you want me to say? It's really...
And what did you do for a living?
I raised children, and then I worked for the school district as an administrative assistant, and it was fun. That was a lot of fun. I knew all my teachers, my children's teachers, and it's easier if you know their teachers, and you can talk with them. But I don't know, my husband had a brother and him, and I had a brother and a sister, so we didn't come from large families, and we both decided we wanted a, medium size, so we got 5. And when we started out, I said, I want a girl. I don't care what, I want a girl. And so we had 4 boys. And then the 5th time came along, and I said, oh my gosh, I don't know if this isn't a girl. I don't know if I can have another one. But it was a girl. It was our baby. Yeah, that was nice. What else? I think that's about it. And yeah. Thank you.
How many grandchildren do you have?
Oh, we have grandchildren, 26.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Cindy, they want to know what your hobbies are. What do you like to do?
I love to travel, which we can't do a lot of because, it takes time and money, but we're getting there. I love being with friends. I enjoy people. I love the summertime. I really like the summertime. My mom was raised in San Jose, and that's always what I like. Who is it? Do I know him?
No.
So yeah, I like to do that, and we usually have people over at the house and such, so it was fun.
So is your husband still with you? You keep saying
No, Roy passed away in April of 24. He was born in 42 and died in 24. That's the way I remember those years, yeah. He was a good guy. He was 6'4", and yeah, really good guy.
I was born in Washington, D.C. That's why I was wondering about the East Coast. And until I was 2 years old, we lived in an apartment house in D.C. right near the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad track. So as soon as I learned how to walk, just about every night my dad and I would walk down to watch the night train to Chicago go by while my mom was fixing dinner. And I just grew up interested in trains and riding trains. My lifelong hobby, transportation in general, streetcars and light rail and subways and even airlines. And so it's been a fun hobby all my life. I've ridden trains in 45 of the U.S. states, just about all of them. I've been to all the 48 adjacent states. I've been to Mexico many times. I've ridden trains over railroads in most of the Mexican states too over the years. But a fantastic place to grow up out there around D.C. At the age of 2, we moved across the river to Arlington, Virginia. Fantastic place to live. There's so much history in that area. And when I was in high school, we moved to Denver, Colorado. And that's a great place too. I really enjoyed living in Denver. Now, my wife grew up in Los Angeles, and so we grew up at opposite ends of the country. My guess is you can guess where we met pretty easy, and it was, yes, BYU. And so there we were. My birthday was yesterday, and 89 years old. If you looked at the history side of the activities sheet for yesterday, what happened in 1775 on June the 17th, the Battle of Bunker Hill in the American Revolution. And so that's the day I was born. Bunker Hill Day, great. Now, my wife waited for me, my wife-to-be at that time, while I went on a mission to Mexico. It was a 2.5-year mission, 2.5 years, no MTC, no language training, just get down there and get to work. So I was all over northern Mexico, and I never got to Mexico City on my mission, but Mexico turned into kind of a hobby for me too. I'm very interested in the history, the culture, the language, the music, the transportation, just everything. So I now have been to Mexico City 12 times, okay, with work and other church activities and just traveling around. Arrived by train 3 times and flown down from Salt Lake 9 times over the years. So my work has taken me down there and other church things too, and just have a lot of fun doing a lot of things related to Mexico. Every day on the computer I get Mexican news. I get on the computer every day newsletters about city transit, light rail, and obviously about trains and airlines, and just fun for me. Been some fun hobbies all my years. I was a professor at Weber State up in Ogden for 45 years, and I was involved with the social psychology program, group processes and things, psychological aspects of business, the world of work. Got involved with quite a few different things. I did research with the nursing department. I was involved with the gerontology program, which is applicable for around here for some reason, right? And I was also quite involved with the Latin American Studies program. So that's part of the reason I went to Mexico. I gave presentations down at conferences in Mexico. That took me to South America. That took me to Rome, Italy. That took me to Seoul, South Korea, all in the name of work. And especially when somebody else is paying for it, it was kind of fun for me to do all those things. You know, yesterday Bobby mentioned the new nonstop to Seoul, South Korea that just started. I picked up on that too just the other day. He had to go to Seoul to get to Cambodia, and I went, of course, to Seoul a couple times, just the business there, business work activities there. And share with you what the schedule is if you want to fly to Seoul. I checked that out on the computer too, just 3 or 4 days ago. You leave Salt Lake every day now, 11:30 in the morning, about that. You fly for about 13 hours. It never gets dark. You're chasing the sun. And you look at the clocks when you get to Seoul, and it's about 3:30 in the afternoon. But tomorrow, all right, take off one day and land the next because we're crossing the international date line. And then coming back, you leave Seoul about 7:30 at night, and you land in Salt Lake about 3:30 or 4 in the afternoon. And there again, you gain back the day you lost. So you leave Seoul at 7:30 at night. You land in Salt Lake about 4 o'clock in the afternoon of the same day. You leave Salt Lake 4 hours before you left Seoul. So, and then you suffer from jet lag too, of course, and very real doing that. Well, there's lots of fun things. My wife went with me several times after our kids were old enough, so she went to Seoul with me in Mexico City and up to Montreal, Canada, and over to Denver and a few places. And she liked to travel, so every time I said to her, let's go so-and-so, she never said why. She never said, can we afford it? She also responded more like, how quick shall I pack my suitcases? So she supported me in my work, my church activities, and so forth. I was a bishop in Ogden in one ward. I was on that council in Ogden in a different stake, and I worked in yet a third stake for 8 years with the Spanish-speaking ward in that stake up in Ogden. So very interesting to do all those kind of things. And I worked for got involved with a 10-year-long church history project that just ended about 8 years ago down in Mexico with the church. And the editor of a book published in Spanish by a university in Mexico, and it's the history of the LDS Church in that particular city, so fairly recent. The sister that was our contact doing that is about the age of my Lehi daughter, and so she calls herself our pretend adopted Mexican daughter. And she's still nice to call me. She called just a couple of weeks ago, see how I'm doing, and she just recently got put in as Relief Society president in her ward down in Mexico just a few weeks ago. So anyway, fun of all of that. Now we have 3 kids. We have a boy in Arkansas, a boy just now moving from Portland, Oregon to Morristown, New Jersey, and then of course our daughter and family here in Lehi. So we lived in Ogden for 50 years and moved to Lehi here to be near our daughter and family. Now, by total coincidence, I have 3 younger sisters and no brothers. All 4 of us were born in Washington, D.C. All 4 of us ended up in Utah County, Utah. I have my youngest sister lives just about a mile away from there. And total coincidence, not planned at all, but it sure happened like that. So you just never know what's going to happen. My wife passed away about a year and a half ago. And when we moved here to Lehi, we lived in Harmony Hills for quite a while, assisted living, which had just opened. I was residence council president over there for 2 years. There was no time limit. And finally, after 2 years, I said, doesn't somebody else want to do that? And there were no takers, so I tried again the next month, asked again. In that time, it was Barbara Kemp. Now, there were services for Barbara Kemp just this morning, as I'm sure a lot of you know. And so she did that over there. And Janet was activity director over there. So I've known Janet for roughly 7 or the last 8 years. I think it's about what it's been. And then, of course, we were lucky enough to move here when the state shut that one down. They took their license away, and that's when we were lucky enough to move here to Covington about 3 years ago. And so that's more or less some of my story, and I greatly appreciate the friendship and support from each and every one of you, for sure. One of the important reasons why I'm here is just you good people, our friendship. My daughter would be glad to have me there, and it'd be great to be there with her and Lehi too, but it's great being here too with all you good people. Thank you.
Well, my name is Luana Enders. I was born and raised in Montebello, California.
Where's that?
And all of my family is from Utah. Everyone. My aunts, my uncles, my mom, my dad, my sister, everyone was from Utah. And so every holiday or during the summer, we, we'd go to, of course, back to Utah. And I felt like I was from here. I have 4 beautiful children. 2 of my girls come here quite often. My one girl here comes here all the time. Those girls are wonderful. I don't know what I'd do without them. And I have my little Willow. She's my roommate. I don't know what I'd do without her either. I have 5, just 5. I have 5 grandchildren, but I have a lot of great-grandchildren and 6 great-great-grandchildren. We started young. I was 15, my daughter was 16, my other daughter was 15. My mom was 16. We started young, and we made good use of it, of our time with our babies. But we are a big family. Although I'm outliving them all. I'm not supposed to, but I am. I just don't like these things, so I'm going to give it back. You better come and get it.
Okay, Luana, how old are you? Can I ask?
I'm sorry.
How old are you?
Day after tomorrow, I will be 87. I'm planning on a big party on my 90th birthday. I told my doctor yesterday, I told Chris, you got to keep me alive till I'm 90 because I'm having a big reunion. So we're working on it.
I was born in 1942 in Southern California and grew up in Glendale and later Huntington Beach. I graduated in Glendale, which was a very good city at that time. And I was child 3, the first girl. So I had 6 siblings. And when I was in kindergarten, I don't know why, but from my school, they selected me to go on the Art Linkletter show. So I grew up in Southern California, and then after my first year at BYU, my family moved to the East Coast. And it was a good thing because I was supposed to meet Sailor David Hansen. And he was in our outdoor Sunday school class. We didn't have a chapel. And we were married in the Los Angeles Temple. So I liked to do hiking when I was a kid. And I've told this part of the story once before. I went hiking by myself. My parents shouldn't have let me do that. But I lay down on the ground to listen to the birds and everything, and then it was, get up, and leave. And I don't know what it was, but in my mind, it was a snake that was coming.
So did you get up and leave?
Oh yeah, that's why I'm here. And then I went to BYU, and when I was a kid too, I used to develop photos, film and print photos when I was about 11 years old. Okay, and then on the East Coast, we had a rented building, and there was a seat next to me, and that's where Sailor David Hansen sat. And then we got married about 9 months later. We are married in the Los Angeles Temple, and we have 9 children, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy. And I taught school for a little while, first grade, and they called it, I'm trying to think, it was pre-K, but they were learning to read in that place, and my little ones learned how to read. And my husband passed away about 3 years ago, and we had a party for my birthday in celebration of him about 2 weeks ago. And I think that's about all. Okay?
Anyone have any questions for Carol?
Yeah, what city on the East Coast were you in?
Well,
What city?
we lived in,
Annapolis, the Navy?
no, it was a Navy, oh, I'm sorry, I can't remember right now.
That's all right, I'm just curious.
Yeah,
Okay,
I can tell you in a little bit.
no, that's fine. In a few minutes, you'll see why I asked you.
Okay.
Hey, Carol, how many grandchildren do you have?
I think I have 28.
Any great-grandchildren, or are you too young?
We have about 3.
3? That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Hello, my name is Lawrence Kramer. Kramer with a K, it's a German name. And I was born in Rochester, New York on the 8th of June in the year of 1937. So, and in the Baseball World Series, the Yankees beat the Giants in that one. I'm a baseball fan.
Okay.
So, yes. And when I was 29, I left Rochester and met a nice lady who became my wife, and we were married in 1966. Her name was Juanita. She just passed away this past January, but we were married over 58 years, in 697 months and 21,242 days. Yeah. She was a beautiful lady from Puerto Rico. So when she was a registered nurse, we ended up having 2 children. Our son lives in Eagle Mountain here in Utah, and our daughter lives with her family in Colorado in the Denver area. So I spent several years in the health industry working as a CNA at various hospitals and all that, doing patient care, which I enjoyed a lot. It was a lot of fun. So, and gee, I don't know if there's anything else.
Does anyone have any questions for Lawrence?
Yeah.
Did you move here to Lehi because your son is in Eagle Mountain?
Yes, we're closer to him here, yeah. We
What
would,
did you do for a living?
oh, I did patient care, like a CNA in hospitals and all that.